Avoid these 7 investing mistakes. In this episode, we are going to address some of the worst mistakes people make when they invest their money. Put your seatbelt on, you're going to be blown away. So I'm Doug Andrew. This happens to be my radio studio. I've been blessed to have a nationally broadcast radio show now for 12 years. I've also written several books. And in this episode, I'm going to address 7 of the major mistakes people make when they invest their money, because I talk about it all the time at various events that I speak at, on the radio, on TV, and also in my 11 books that I've written. My goal is to write a book every year the rest of my life. And a few years ago, I wrote this article titled 31 Flavors, which coincides with Baskin-Robbins, 31 Flavors of Ice Cream. So Flavors is an acronym that stands for Fortunes Lost Amid Valid Optimization and Reallocation Strategies. How do you like that? So these are really dynamic ways that I've noticed people miss out on $100,000, $500,000, $1 million in their lifetime because they simply don't know what they don't know. So on this particular one, I'm going to go down the bullet points one by one, and this is what I call asset management, choosing the wrong strategies as you invest money, because this is a big deal. And when I'm done, I'll invite you to watch another episode that sort of connects all of these together, and you can get a free copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. So I'll read these one by one and comment on them. Trying to time the market, thus buying and selling at the wrong times. Big mistake. Many investors, they get caught up with their money in the market trying to time the market, and they do lousy at it. Frankly, even some of the timing services that they used to have were pretty lousy at timing the market. Nobody knows what the market's going to do. But a lot of times, the market will go through an up and then a down, and that may be over a 3-year period or a 10-year period. So what happens is people put their money in the market, and it goes up, 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 okay? And then all of a sudden it starts to go down. It's going to do that. And when it starts going down, people start to panic. And their advisor says, hang in there, the market always comes back. And so they're nervous, and it goes, because nobody likes to lose. And it goes down, down, and down. And when it starts to lose 30 to 40% of what it was at the high water mark, people go, enough already. And they sell low. And then they wait till the market turns around and it comes back, and they have enough faith. They wait till the market's up, and then they buy high. That's the opposite. You should buy low, sell high. Most people do the opposite because they get involved emotionally buying and selling at the wrong time. I've always had my money into a place where market volatility doesn't hurt me. It helps me. I don't lose when the market goes down, and I make money when the market goes up because I use a strategy called indexing. You need to learn about that and watch some other episodes as I explain that. The second bullet point is relying on the purchase of commodity products rather than proven strategies. A lot of times people think, oh no, it's in buying this stock or this bond or gold or silver. It's not in the commodity. It's in the strategy. Okay, this is where instead of trying to buy gold or silver so that when the market goes down, that seems to hold its own. Do you know that gold and silver basically keeps up with inflation? It doesn't beat inflation. In other words, a suit of clothes, a tunic, 2,000 years ago at the time of Christ was like an ounce of gold, okay? And now today you can buy a nice tailor-made suit for an ounce of gold. I mean, it just keeps up with inflation. You don't get ahead because the cost of living goes up at the same rate gold does. It only helps you when the market goes down because that stays level. But at the end of the day, it doesn't average a very good rate of return. So sometimes people think that the strategy is in which stock should I buy? Which bond? Which commodity? It's not in that. It's in the strategy like indexing. It's where you diversify and you don't lose when the market goes down, and you make money when the market goes up. Do you know a lot of our clients in 2008, when most Americans lost 40%, if they had $1 million at the beginning of 2008, they only had 600,000 at the end of that year. Our clients still had their million because they didn't lose. They didn't make anything in 2008, but they didn't lose. They were like cheering, go, go, because they can start making money at a lower point faster than trying to pick up where they left off up here. And as they make money, most of our clients locked in gains of 16% the first 90 days of 2009 after not losing a dime. Most Americans took 4 years until 2012 to make back that $400,000 they lost. So the next 3 big mistakes are actually pretty easy, but you wouldn't believe how many savvy investors, they call themselves, make these 3 mistakes: liquidity, safety, and predictable rates of return. In other words, they put their money into investments that do not pass the liquidity test. What's liquidity? It's the ability to access your money, maybe with an electronic funds transfer or a phone call when you need it. Most people have their money tied up in the real estate property, or it's in an IRA or 401k where there's going to be a 10% penalty if they tap into it by the IRS. Or maybe when the market goes down, that's not when you want to tap into it. It's not liquid. Liquidity is the number one reason why people lose money, because you do not have access to it when you need it. And I have stories in my various books that talk about how important liquidity is when you're investing. That's number one. Number 2 is safety. Now, when I talk about safety, safety of the institution, but see, people go, well, my money's safe in a bank, right? Well, yeah, you have FDIC insurance, but it's a pathetic rate of return, less than 1%. So not only safety of the institution, but safety of principal. I don't want to lose in the future money that I've made in the past, and this is a strategy called lock in and reset that I explain on other episodes. The third key element of a prudent investment is earning a predictable rate of return. So liquidity is number 1, safety is number 2, rate of return is third down the list. Too many people put that on the top of the list, and they put their money in places where they can't get to it in case of an emergency. So that's why I put liquidity at the top. Now, rate of return, you don't need pie in the sky rates of return. A lot of people try to get rich quick by getting rates of return 15, 20, 30%, and you don't need to do that. Real wealth is accumulated just at rates of return averaging 7, 8, 9, 10%. If you were to earn 7.2%, your money would double every 10 years. And I use 7.2 because of the rule of 72. But do you know that 7.23% is the actual rate of return that you would have achieved in the worst decade since the Great Depression, the year 2000 to 2010? Anybody that was following the indexing strategies that we teach, their money doubled. If they had $1 million in the year 2000, without adding a dime, they had $2 million at the end of 2010. Most Americans, because their money dropped 40% twice in that decade, weren't even back to break even again until 2012. So rate of return is important, but I've averaged actually 10.07, 10% into the number 72, the rule of 72, your money will double every 7.2 years. And so that is a concept that many people miss out on fortunes because they don't understand the value of a predictable, safe rate of return. Let's go into the last 2 points or mistakes that people make. So the last 2 bullet points in my article here is not understanding the full power of compound interest. It was Albert Einstein that said compound interest was the 8th wonder of the world, but it was Rothschild that said, no, compound interest tax-free. And so $1 doubling every period for 20 periods will grow to $1,048,000 if it's tax-free. If it's tax-deferred, it's only worth maybe $600,000 or $700,000 to you because you have to pay a third of that $1,000,000 to the government. If it's taxed as earned, the way most people save, that money is only worth $72,000 if you're in a 25% tax bracket. It's only worth $27,000 if you're in a 33% tax bracket. And the final mistake people make is locking up serious cash in investments like gold and silver. I mean, I've met many people that said, oh, yeah, I've got $100,000 of gold buried in my backyard. I'm the only one that knows where it is. Well, when you die, what's going to happen? I remember one of my clients' grandfathers passed away. They were cleaning out his basement in his home. They were going to throw out all these Folgers coffee cans down in his workshop. There was over $300,000 in $100 bills, wadded up so tight in those coffee cans, nobody could get them out. They thought they were just nails or screws or junk. So no, putting money in a mattress or in a coffee can or in gold or silver. You can't eat that at the end of the day. So don't overdo putting money into those types of things. It'd be better to have food storage or something. So avoid these mistakes, and I want you to watch this episode so you can understand all 31 flavors of missed fortune, why people miss out on fortunes. And also in this episode, you'll be given the opportunity to receive absolutely free a copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. I'll pop it out to you free. You just pay shipping and handling, and it's yours to study and review to learn how you can avoid these same mistakes.